Hi, everyone. Silver Joker here. I hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend. Okay, so are you planning on having more than $600 in the bank? Or are you planning to have more than $600 in transactions in the future when it comes to stacking physical bullion? Well, if you do plan on having more than $600 in transactions or $600 in the bank, more than that, then be prepared to be scrutinized by the IRS. So if you want to know what I'm talking about, stick around. All right, so there's this bill being proposed right now where the IRS can scrutinize your finances if you have transactions in excess of $600 in a calendar year. I'm not real intelligent when it comes to tax law. So I went down and talked to Phil because he is the guy who I buy my bullion from. So he would be the guy I talked to about this. I went down and talked to him, and I'm going to let you guys hear what we talked about. There's a lot of buzz lately, a lot of information out there about this. I'm sure you've heard of it, this $600 IRS audit threshold. I don't know if that's what it's called or not, but you got to get an idea of what I'm saying. Yeah. And it's been very politicized, especially on social media, even in the silver stacking community. So I'd like to talk about it without all the politics, if that's possible. I mean, I know that the IRS is doing it, and it's a political thing. But I just kind of want to understand what's going on. I mean, should I be afraid as a stacker? Is there something that I should be doing, or some changes that I need to make to the way I stack and buy physical bullion to kind of protect myself from being audited? I guess that's my question to you.
Yeah, I mean, I think this bill is in the Build Back Better
Okay, yeah, I've heard
bill,
of that.
if I'm not mistaken. But it's part of this bill that allows the banks, or actually edicts the banks, to report. At this point, it's $600. I think they're going to increase it. But any accumulation of deposits into an account over a period of a year that is $600 or more. So it pretty much includes 99.9% of Americans with bank accounts, checking accounts or savings accounts. So it would include deposits or withdrawals of that amount. It's not specifically for each individual deposit withdrawal. That's governed by the $10,000 rule, which is in effect as we speak. But this law was supposed to, if it does get passed and put into legislation and passed as a law, will take effect probably in a year or two from now, and it will require banks to report on accounts that have access or deposits that are $600 or more. And I believe they're going to raise that threshold, but it's still going to affect a lot of people. Now, supposedly, wages are excluded from that, so they're not going, if it's in excess of the wages that are reported on your W-2 or income.
Okay, so let me make sure I understand. So what if I have a transaction? Let's say I'm buying bullion online, and I have transactions in excess of that. Let's say if I'm spending more than $600. Is it just accumulating, or is it just transactions that I have?
It's technically, they can look at individual transactions, but the banks are going to report annual transactions in excess of $600. So yes, they will be able to track individual transactions. The catch-all is $600 over the entire year. So now your account is vulnerable. So now every transaction in your account now becomes, so the $600 threshold was, which accounts are we reporting on? Well, $600 or more annually. So now once that's cleared, that hurdle's cleared, now every transaction can be evaluated, yes, if they choose to do that. So what it does essentially is send up red flags to the IRS prior to any type of audit they would have had on you anyway. Now keep in mind the IRS has access to your financial records if they choose to have that. This is something that preempts that in terms of giving the information before an audit is initiated by the IRS and gives them information as to whether to do an audit. So it gives them kind of a running start on who is, putting a lot of money through their bank, but their income doesn't justify that type of money.
I see. So how?
So in terms of answering the stacking issue and spending money that you rightfully own and have access to, don't worry about it.
Okay.
Period.
Okay. So that was my concern.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I know I probably shouldn't say this, but I know I spend in excess of that to accumulate physical bullion, and I'm doing it for a reason.
Yeah. What you do with your money is still none of their concern.
Okay,
The idea of putting a lot of money through a bank account that you're not justified with showing that as income is a red flag, and that's what they're trying to get. Who is having income go through an account that the income is non-verifiable?
Oh.
So if your deposits, your payroll is going into your checking account, yes, that's going to raise, the allowable information to go to the IRS, but if you're only spending within the means of your income,
Right.
There's no problem with that. You can spend that money on groceries or
Right.
silver or whatever you want to spend it on, of course. But what they're trying to track is excesses of money going through an account that's not justified by the income
I
that
see.
you
So
report on your income
I
tax.
got you. So if I let's say, for example, if I make $10,000 a year,
Yes.
that's my income.
Yes.
That's okay because it's verifiable from my
Yeah, you can spend
employer.
it on whatever you want.
Right.
So
And let's say I sell something, and I got the receipt and all that, and I deposit that in the bank. That's okay because it's verifiable.
Mm-hmm.
But let's say I want to sell some stuff at a flea market or have a yard sale. If you put that income into the bank and it's over that $10,000 and the other that's verifiable, that's going to send up the red flag.
Yeah, and they're going to have limits, obviously, on you sell $500 on in a yard sale or whatever, and you put that money in the bank to write a check for your kids' books at college or something. Depending on how much that 500 impacts the overall look of your account, it may or may not raise a red flag. This is going to be dependent on how scrutinizing they are on verifiable income versus how much extra excess income goes through that same account.
Right.
So if you get a personal loan of $10,000 and that goes into your account, and they send you an audit letter saying, well, you only showed this much income, and we showed $10,000 more going into this account, and you can prove that, hey, this was just a personal loan from the bank, that's fine. End of story. Account. They're not going to do anything from there on out, because you can say that this is where the income come from, and I don't owe taxes on it because I'm paying interest on it from the bank. It wasn't income. It's borrowed money, basically. So what they're trying to do is catch people that are putting enormous amounts of money through a bank account, but they're only paying taxes on a small percent of income that shows through that account, and they want to know why. What's the discrepancy? Where's the difference coming from? And is it income that should be taxed?
Right. The purpose for all this is to have everybody pay taxes on what they're supposed to pay taxes on.
Yes.
So the income, if they, let's say they catch you, not that you're trying to do anything wrong, but let's just say they catch you, all they're going to do is just say you need to pay taxes on this.
Well, they're gonna tax you on the income, and then they're gonna have the penalties and interest, which is
Right,
what they,
penalty,
is their bread and butter, basically. Yeah, we keep records of what's sold to us, but more for records to make sure it's not stolen merchandise.
Right.
We do not report currently to a 1099 as income to you, that you would have to then come up with a cost basis of what you paid for the silver, and then basically pay tax on. If you made money on the silver, you should pay tax on the difference. So say you sold $5,000 worth of silver and you bought it for $4,500 over a period of years. That $500 then would be from the law's on the book now. That $500 should be taxed anyway.
Right.
It's up to you to report that.
Right. That was my point.
It's up to you, and it always has been up to you. It's income to you, and you should report it as income on your income tax. Do people do that? Probably not. But this is going to force people to second guess themselves and say, should I report that? Because now the IRS is seeing that basically through a lens, saying there's more money going through my account now than I can verify as income. where's that amount coming from, and is it money that should be taxed or shouldn't be taxed? If you've got a reason that it shouldn't be taxed, you're okay. If it should be taxed, then and they do audit you,
you're going to have
to pay tax on the difference. I mean, essentially, that's a way of making sure everybody pays their tax on all income. And this is kind of something people don't quite understand. Income is any income you make. You should report it as income, as taxable income, unless it's somehow non-taxable income that you have. And there are buckets of non-taxable income people can have, but at the same time, most income, excess income that people have right now, as a citizen of the United States and what's on the law in the books, you should report that as discretionary income, and it should be taxed. I mean, that's essentially the way it is now.
Right.
Do people do that? Probably not. And that's, I think, what part of this is. But they're not. I don't really think they're looking for the low amounts. I think they're looking for the multi-million dollars of income that goes to accounts that doesn't get taxed.
Right.
And it does get people up in arms, because I think on both sides of the aisle, you can't say that this is not weaponizing the IRS. I mean,
right.
it gives them ammunition. Everybody's in their sight. They've got the ammunition now. Are you the one they choose to shoot down? I mean, essentially that's how it works. And are they going to enforce it evenly? Well, there's never any laws in this nation ever been enforced evenly throughout. I mean,
that is absolutely true.
You can pick and choose, and unfortunately, are they going to pick and choose? We just don't know all this, and I think that's what got, reading into it has more ramifications in terms of it can be certainly an abuse system if the IRS chooses to abuse it, and we don't know even if it's going to pass. I don't think people should lose sleep over it tonight because it's in its infancy. If you support this bill, to me, I think you're agreeing that the IRS should be weaponized in terms of being able to. And the thing is, you can't enforce this blanketly through the entire United States, every citizen that files income tax. So some people are going to be pulled out and audited, and others are going to still get away with not paying taxes. This opens the door to a lot more information the IRS has about you, has about your account and your finances. How are they going to use it? How are they going to apply it? And how are they going to enforce it evenly that everybody feels like it's a fair law?
Yeah. This right now, there's nothing to worry about. I mean, it's not even law yet, and if it does, it's going to be years down the road. And also, if you're a physical bullion stacker, it's really not going to affect you anyway unless you are putting large sums of money in the bank beyond what's accountable.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I appreciate your time, Phil, on that, and you cleared up a lot of stuff for me. I'm sure the viewers are going to be interested to hear your take on this.
Probably going to be a lot more questions than there are answers on this until we get to the nuts and bolts of what's being passed.
Absolutely. Yeah. So hopefully it's just a moot point. Maybe they'll come to their senses and say, you know what, we'll scrap this.
I think it's extremely unpopular with the American public. I think it's extremely unpopular with a lot of the politicians. I think all the politicians, it infuriates the American population. Absolutely. Is what it does.
So if you're a politician and you're listening to my channel, you listen to Phil. He's telling you right now, get away from this bill. It's not a popular one.
Step away from it. It's very unpopular.
Right,
I've had a lot of customers come in and they're infuriated by the fact that they feel like.
I'm one of them. All right, thanks a lot, Phil. I appreciate it. All right, so there you have it. Now, it's all pure speculation. I mean, nobody really knows what this bill is going to entail. Not really. There's, I'm sure, a lot of misinformation out there. I always want to err on the side of caution, and so I'm in a wait-and-see mode, really, myself. Now, Phil has his own personal opinions about things and how things work. Of course, that's his own personal opinion. I do encourage you, if you're interested in how this bill is going to work, you do your own research. I did a little more research after I talked to Phil, and I saw that there is a lot of misinformation out there, a lot of what I like to call fear-mongering. A lot of people, have their strong opinion about the government, different branches of the government, different parties, political parties, that kind of thing. So everybody's going to have their own spin on how this is going to go down. My thing is I'm going to continue to stack silver. I'm going to continue to buy silver the same way I've always done it. I'm going to continue to utilize my bank account the same way I've always done it. I always pay my taxes. And so I don't think I really have anything to worry about and I won't worry until I have to. But that's just an insight in what's going on. Phil's personal opinion, a lot of that's based on his own experiences and his own knowledge about taxes and how they're collected and paid and what the IRS expects from taxpayers and that kind of thing. But you do your own research and then act accordingly. And that's what I always like to do. And I tell you guys that, I'm here to inform your thinking and not to lead it in any particular direction. Anyway, I appreciate the outpouring of love that you guys showed me in the comments of my last video. I appreciate that so much. But anyway, I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch my videos. If you like what you see, give me a thumbs up. Thumbs up really helps my channel out. If you want to see more, subscribe, ring that bell. You'll be notified as soon as I put out another video. And, let's look out for each other. The future is on its way. I like to paraphrase what's on the side mirrors of just about every motorized vehicle. The future is a lot closer than it may appear. So anyway, I appreciate you guys stopping by. Keep stacking. Peace.